think now the first question I want to get into is with what BP announced recently. I mean, they said, okay, they're going to invest heavily into electrification as well. They already did some plans before that, and we've heard from other fossil fuel companies going into, we're going to make some charging stations, because they kind of, I don't know, the market kind of shakes right now because we have those huge developments in sales of electric vehicles. So how do you see that BP now partners with Tesla in that sense, buys them and the infrastructure, and to also utilize on top of their infrastructure this electric charging infrastructure? How do you see that? Can we trust BP? Is that a good thing that the oil companies now want to join in? Is that because you, with your background in fossil fuels, it's super interesting to hear your thoughts on this, because you have a great insight into the industry. So how do you view that, actually?
As always, every news of Tesla grabs me, and this was one of those. I've been studying it for 2 days, I think, when the news came out. We, as Mr. Green, we have a history of building superchargers along highways. For 8 years, we sold our company to Fastnet, one of the biggest European fast charging providers in Europe. And we already did a lot of Teslas. So we actually told people, if you lease a Tesla with us, you can have free supercharging at our superchargers. But we were in talks with Tesla, if we want to get on your navigation system, because and they said, yeah, we will do that. But it took time. And then we also asked, we would like to buy the superchargers from you guys, because we think it's the best experience in the whole ecosystem. It's not only uptime, which is like almost 100%, but also without having to pay, without having to download an app. It's just the car plugging in and it's done. It's the best experience you can imagine. So we were in the market for a long time. And in that market, there were also oil companies buying competitors. So we looked at that with the same way that you just described. But I think we learned that it's a good sign that they're doing it. And of course, there's always a marketing issue around it. And they already have the permits, they already have the housing, and etc. So I think it's good. It's very interesting to see that Tesla is actually going to set up this kind of deals, because they never did it. They, for like 12 years, never sold a supercharger. And now they're in the game of selling superchargers. So that's a new revenue stream. The first thing I did was I went to LinkedIn to get into my Tesla contact, the supercharging contact from, hey, can we buy them as well? I didn't have any answer yet. So I think it's pretty early for Tesla to roll this out globally, but it's a very nice sign for every entrepreneur out there to think of how they can earn money on getting superchargers from Tesla. And I think Tesla is the cheapest provider of supercharging stations, in combination with, and which is even more interesting, is that their cars and their customers are actually coming to your premises and they're going to buy stuff from you there. So that's even more interesting than the superchargers themselves. It's the whole ecosystem around that, which is interesting. And I also think that Tesla has a leverage, because they have their navigation system. And if somebody is not making sure that the uptime is 100%, they will be kicked off of the map. So it's a fascinating business case. And I think this is just the beginning. And it's something that I always thought it would never happen, or because I asked multiple times, and now it's there. So now it's very interesting for entrepreneurs to look at the possibilities and the network effect this will give, because I mean, they are the cheapest. So they are going to not only do this deal with BP, but also with Shell, or whoever who owns gas stations will buy chargers from them as of now. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there.
Do you also see that the industry will gonna shrink the oil industry more and more? You already see this trajectory, or because you know in which areas the oil industry operates, and it's just cars or fuel for cars, it's for ships. Hard diesel, I'm not sure how it's called. For ships, diesel, like heavier diesel.
Bunker oil.
Bunker oil, yeah. How do you see that the oil industry are they gonna reduce and come to a halt? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think where you started with, you always have to keep in mind which guys we're talking with. Yeah, I think, of course, you should be aware. And for them, it's also free marketing. They could use it to kill it, for example. I mean, they have shown in their past that they bought industries just to kill it in order for them to expand their own market. But I think in this case, it's like you're selling something to the enemy, and they're paying for it. So this is actually ingenious from Tesla. I mean, Tesla's goal is to accelerate renewable energy, and now the company who is actually being fought against is actually buying the stuff from Tesla. So
and disrupting the industry. Tesla is disrupting the industry, huge disruptor for the oil industry. But now we have a partnership. It's kind of like unprecedented. It's
exactly. So that's the huge part of this announcement. It's amazing to see that they're actually putting money into the guys who are actually disrupting them. These guys are huge. And I think what Elon Musk also said, I mean, we are still a society which depends a lot on oil. And you see it with the Ukraine war. We're still very dependent on Russian gas, and we still need it, and we can't just stop with it. But I do think that the rise of renewable energies will be so dramatic, and we will see an exponential curve of adoption because of the exponential decrease in cost of this energy. I mean, solar energy at this moment is cheaper than any other energy source out there. But the problem with solar is that you can't put it into a tank. You need batteries. And we have too little batteries yet, but soon, or as the moment is that there are enough batteries and cheap batteries, that's the moment that oil is going to lose. But I think the strategy of the oil companies at this moment is to actually expand the time of renewables coming into place. And while doing that, they will expand their investments into renewable energy sources and also this space. I think for their downstream business, so selling gas to cars, they will see that will diminish pretty fast. So they are also seeing that the numbers of cars actually being sold, the electric vehicle space, so the market share of electric cars is expanding exponential. And I think what we're seeing in Norway right now, which is an oil company, I mentioned you, they are selling 90% is electric cars. So Volkswagen stopped selling ICE cars as of 2024. In Norway.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's huge news.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and Norway is only like 4 years in front of the Netherlands. And the Netherlands is only like 2 or 3 years in front of the United States market in terms of battery adoption, battery vehicle adoption. And of course, we see a little downward curve at this moment. And the big media outlets are already saying, the electric vehicle adoption rate is killed. And it's always been something from China, and it's bad for the environment, blah, 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 blah. It's all because I think it's because of the interest cost. The interest rates are rising dramatically, and that's having its impact on the car industry. But not only the ICE car market, but also the electric vehicle market. But as soon as macroeconomics are going to change, and I think that it will change within, 12, maybe 16 months, we will see an exponential curve again. So. No, I'm not too worried about this stagnation in EV demand. And I don't think it's there at all.
Yeah.
It's just as Tony Seba said, cost curves are like gravity. It's going down. And we have seen it for 5-6 years already. The cost of a battery, it was like 1,000 euros a kilowatt, and now it's under 100 in 6 years. So it's diminished by a tenfold. And it will do it in the next 10 years again. So it's an unfair battle for the ICE industry. So oil is going to be, it's still everywhere. There's enough oil for the next century. That's not the problem. But I think it's going to be too expensive. So it's not only because we want to become green. A lot of people don't even care. But everybody cares about their cost.
Yeah.
Everybody cares about their own wallet. And it's not only the wallet. It's also a better experience overall. And if we are getting into autonomous driving, it will be even better.
Yeah.
So people just still say to me, but I like driving myself. I just enjoy it so much. But they don't know yet how much of enjoyment you get of driving with FSD. You watch your phone. What's bigger, your addiction to your phone or your fun to drive?